Good morning. This is Reverend Pam Geagan from Camarillo, California at the Center for Spiritual Living, Pleasant Valley. Welcome home.
Everybody, we are the Center for Spiritual Living, Pleasant Valley. I'm Reverend Lynn Chaplain Noe, and our spiritual leader, of course, is Reverend Pam Geagan, and our assistant minister is the wonderful Reverend Betty Ann Brennan, and we have wonderful people on our service this morning. We have, if you wave and say hi, they can see you waving. We have Armado and Bonnie Cordova, and we've got Reverend Betty Ann. Say hi.
Hi.
Everybody say hi. And we've got, Buzz Noe is there. Wave, Buzz. Say hi, Buzzy. There's Buzzy. And Reverend Dr. Sue Rubin. Say hi, Reverend Dr.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hi. Well, we're all here, and so is Reverend Pam Geagan. Wave, you saw earlier. And our vision here is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. And how we do that is teaching and demonstrating spiritual principles for living an abundant and fulfilling life in a welcoming and compassionate community. And we have the candles of faith. We believe there is one source and many paths leading to that source. We honor all faiths, Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Judaism, Sufism, and all others that step forward in love. There is that one fine thread that connects us all and all religions in the world, and that thread is love. We come from love, we are love, and we honor our oneness that is within us all. And now, Reverend Betty Ann Brennan is going to give us our quote for the day and an opening treatment.
Good morning. Use this throughout the day to bring your consciousness up. It says, I am free to choose, and I am divinely guided to make the right choices. Join me in a treatment. Just get comfortable as you can. Close your eyes if you want to, and let go of everything in your mind. Make it a slate upon which we can write. And in this being, I know that we have come here today to remember who we are, to remember that we are at one with the creative power of the universe, this strong and powerful force that is at our disposal. We are one with this power. And so I know that today, this power is preparing something personal for each one of us. A new insight, a question, a challenge, but it is being created right here and right now in this day. And so we move in a day and through our life from love to love only. That's the greatest power. And in order to be sure we're coming from love, we need to forgive everything. And so we are ready and willing to hear what is to be said and to find that pearl of price that belongs to each of us. And so I am very grateful that all is here, and especially grateful to knowing who I am. And so I give thanks. I recognize that my life is unfolding perfectly, no matter what. And so I turn these words over to that creative power for a great and grand outcome. and join me in saying, and so it is.
So it is.
And so it is
Thank you.
that it is my honor to introduce the film clip for our segment on uplifting stories in an untethered, unprecedented world right now. And it comes from Amado and Bonnie Cordova on Roosevelt Island in New York. And they're very special to me. They're very special in my heart. Bonnie is my cousin and also sister of the heart. And so we're going to show you this film clip of them dancing, and then we're going to be able to talk to them for a few minutes also. So enjoy. Makes you look very handsome. And now it is my honor to bring Amado and Bonnie Cordova to the screen from their beautiful place on Roosevelt Island, New York. Bonnie and Amado, can you tell us about how you started dancing and what happened during this COVID time?
Well, we've always danced, but Amado is much more inclined to dance if we're being filmed. And so it started because the creative process with me is usually I start feeling sorry for myself and I start feeling like a victim. And I was mad that I couldn't go out and do my 10,000 steps. And I was not losing weight and I was just feeling very grumpy. Then I got the idea that I could do my 10,000 steps in my house, up and down the apartment in the hallway. So I put on my earbuds and I was listening to dance music, and every hour I decided to do 1,000 to break it up like that. And it was starting to become more and more fun. And then I heard this great song and I grabbed Amado and we started dancing to it and decided to record it so we'd up our game. And that was
We've been dancing for some time and we love that. In fact, our first date was in the dance floor over 20 years ago.
Would you share about, I'll never forget that part of when you first went out and you were dancing and you were just, kind of seeing what Amado was all about, and then tell your experience on the dance floor with Amado.
Well, I had been going dancing a lot, and there are a lot of people who just didn't hear the music and who would memorize the steps, and it was uncomfortable. They were not in the flow. And I'd had so many dance partners, and I met Amado through a dating service, and I decided to meet him dancing because he seemed creepy to me. And
You have to explain that one.
I only have 5 minutes. So he met me at a dance club, and I was with friends to protect me. And he put his hand on my back and led me onto the dance floor, and it just felt comfortable. And he was a wonderful leader and was listening to me too as he was leading, and listening to the way I moved. And it was everything I wanted in a dance partner. And then we just had to iron out every other aspect of our relationship.
I have to say that my background is in engineering and science, so I'm very much, my whole life I've been into left brain. So dancing for me has been a part that allows me to express myself in the other part of the brain. It has been actually completely forget my A-type personality when I'm dancing.
Amado is one of both of you together are very interesting. And I love when you said you have to ironing things out. I always say relationship is the highest gift to figure out who you are, because you have that mirror. And I should mention that Amato is a physicist, and he is, both of you are brilliant, but he is brilliant and never dull. I'll tell you that right.
Oh.
Including on the dance floor. I love you both. I can't tell you how lovely it has you to have you with us. And please, stay and so we can say goodbye to you. And mwah, peace out. Bye. Thank you. And now it's my honor to introduce our wonderful Buzz Noe with our What's the Buzz? Our announcements.
Well, thank you very much, Reverend Pam. And as we're now well into the month of July, let's continue to know we'll all get by. And even though we can't gather together, we can all in one mind enjoy this warm weather. So let's all stay confident that we'll get through this okay. And here are the announcements for today. Daily morning meditations continue on Facebook Live with Reverend Pam Geagan to help us all thrive. The 5 Agreements starts tomorrow at 9. This new subject will strengthen your mind. Explore self-forgiveness, self-love, and self-care. So join in to discover those blessings that we share. From 7 to 9 tomorrow night, you can explore the power to write as writer group meets in person at the center. Please honor the precautions, but feel free to enter. While this pandemic continues to keep us apart, new online events are planned to soon start. Physical separation will provide our defense as we connect with each other in a spiritual sense. Events that connect our mind with our heart, we'll post it right here when they're ready to start. Keep in mind that we're here for you. Please let us know what we can do. If you need a prayer while home alone, send an email or leave a message on the phone. A reminder to please donate to our center so we can be here when it is safe to re-enter. And a Venmo link is available now. Our website and Facebook page will show you how. 2 other places that can use your donations as they assist fellow humans in many locations. County Rescue Mission and County Food Share. Please show them that you indeed truly do care. And it is warming up, so enjoy the beach, but please do maintain that 6-foot reach. Those are the announcements for this week. I now give you back to Rev Pam for the blessings you seek.
Oh, Buzzy, thank you so much. I just want to say that I've been to lots of churches and all the announcements were really dull. You have made it a feature in all of our services, and we just so love and appreciate your creativity and your joy. Anyway, now I'm going to introduce a congregational song, and I'll be really brief. We have a really hard time finding royalty-free music, so I went to Public Domain, and I found a recording from 1924 in an app from Alabama, I believe, and it's Free at Last. Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last, and please enjoy it.
Free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. One day I'm walking alone, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. I met old Sid, I'm on my way, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. Why'd you ring, old Sid, and said to me, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. Young man, you too young to pray, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. If I'm too young to pray, I ain't too young to die, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. Oh, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. Oh, Satan mad and I am glad, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. Well, he missed his soul that he thought he had, got a man free at last.
And once again, we reintroduce our wonderful Buzz Noe because he's practitioner of the day. Welcome back, Buzz.
Thank you again, Reverend Pam. And yes, I am Buzz Noe. I'm your practitioner for today. And I'd like to say hello to all of you and thank you for joining our service today. We are now 1 week past the celebration of our nation's independence, which was founded on the idea of freedom. And in keeping with this concept, the Center for Spiritual Living theme for today is None Are Free Until All Are Free, which remind us that the best way to experience our own individual freedom is to openly share that freedom with others. A great quote from Nelson Mandela echoes the same idea as he says, "For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others." We're going to be hearing a little more on this theme when Reverend Pam and Dr. Sue discuss Free at Last in a little while. And now, at this point, there's a chance that this idea of freedom may seem somewhat obscure to some of you, considering the current conditions of life that are brought on by the coronavirus pandemic, which does appear at times to have taken away some of our freedoms. For example, we cannot currently assemble in large gatherings for events. There are restrictions on where we can go and when we can go. We need to wear masks in public spaces. There are other regulations which some folks feel has taken away our ability to be free at last. But we have to keep in mind that the current situation is simply another chapter in the continuing evolution of life. In the entire history of humanity, we've never been able to do whatever we wanted, whenever we wanted to, without encountering consequences, which can then appear to be a suppression of freedom. But I'm sure, as we'll hear more about this from our beloved ministers, what we need to be aware of that in the path to freedom is ultimately within our own minds. Rules, regulations, laws, guidelines have always been in place in the history of mankind. Yet finding the ability to be free at last within those restrictions has always been our individual choice. And the idea that freedom is ultimately in our own minds first came to me many years ago with a song named Already Gone by a well-known rock band, the Eagles, which contained this momentous lyric, which has always been resonant to me as they sing, "So oftentimes it happens that we live our lives in chains and we never even know we have the key." And that got me to thinking that it is more or less a mental situation more than what's going on physically around you. A lot of others have recognized this same concept. Some guy from a while back named Buddha said it this way, "No one outside ourselves can rule us inwardly. When we know this, we become free." And in similar words from another Indian guru named Rajneesh, "True freedom is always spiritual. It has something to do with your innermost being, which cannot be chained, handcuffed, or put into jail." And this one sentence statement from the author Jean-Paul Sartre says it all. Freedom is what you do with what's been done to you. So these always will bring us forward, I think, but I love to share a quote from our founder, Ernest Holmes, who has this to say about freedom. "The divine plan is one of freedom. The inherent nature of man is ever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom because freedom is the birthright of every living soul." And so with these thoughts in mind, I'm going to go into a centering treatment. So please let us now go within where we discover our true inner freedom. And I say these words in the first person, please make them your own. I know that right here and right now, in this continuing evolution of the time-space continuum, there is only now. And I'm here, and I'm now, and everything that else is here is connected to me. I am connected through divine source with all that is, all that exists in nature, in life, and in humanity. And I know that from this oneness, as I bring forth from my consciousness that which I would have revealed and maintained in my life is brought forth and even now manifest in my life. And so I choose these thoughts from my consciousness to be motivated by love, to express my sharing of freedom with all, to allow everyone to be who they are, as they are. And I know this will allow me to be who I am, where I am, when I am, and have the freedom to express my joy, my love, my creativity in the world in which I live. And I continue to go forth with this goal of maintaining and manifesting love wherever I go, with whomever I speak, with whomever I see, whoever I encounter in life, knowing that as I express my freedom to them, their freedom is revealed and mine is brought back. And I do thank God for the awareness of this ability to manifest my freedom through my inner self and bring it forth and share it with all the others in the world. And I thank God for the ability to have this, to know it, to express it. And I now release these words of freedom, of trust, of love to the one mind that is God, knowing that as I say these words, know them to be so, and accept them as valid in my life, they are manifest for me and all others right here and right now. And together we can close by saying in unison, and so it is. And so it is that I now bring you back to Reverend Pam Geagan for our next segment. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Buzzy. Now I want to introduce Eileen Markland, an amazing violinist who she just found me on Ancestry not too long ago, Ancestry.com, that you find relatives. She is my first cousin. She's beautiful. She lives in Massachusetts. I have not met her yet. She is a minister of music and also a music teacher. And so please enjoy. And I'm going to have her on eventually just to talk about this amazing miracle that happened. And so please enjoy Eileen.
I'm going to do the same thing.
Spencer. 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 First of all, I loved it when you waved this week. Will you do it again? I missed saying thank you. So will you wave at the end too? Okay, thank you. And Violet. And, no, not she. But Violet doesn't have to. How is she? No, I can't. Oh, tractor. Jeez.
time-wise, how long do we go?
What Spencer said, like 45 seconds.
No, how long did you and I?
Welcome. Thank you so much for coming back. And it is such an honor to be with my teacher, my mentor, my dear friend of the heart, Dr. Sue Rubin today, Reverend Dr. Sue Rubin. And as we discuss Free at Last, and it is Freedom Month, and that's one of the reasons we're doing it. And something that Buzz said, and I can't remember the entire quote, but it was about embracing what is so, and that within whatever restrictions you're feeling, you do have that freedom. And I just want to tell you about a story briefly about a shaman who lived over 3,000 years ago. This is supposedly a true story, and he meditated for years, never coming out of a dark cave. And so one night he dreamed, he looked down and saw his body, and it was illuminated. So he went out, he stepped out, because what he wanted was that connection to the divine, that divine illumination, and it just wasn't coming. So then after he had the dream, he stepped out and he saw the millions of brilliant stars, and they were all illuminated. And then something else changed his life forever. He looked down and he saw that his hands and his body were also made of light, and he looked like stars illuminated too. And he realized that stars didn't make the light creates the stars, and that everything in the divine is illumined, and that is what we are together. And we are in this together, as I say. And when you accept and lift our consciousness in all of this, and you've been great on Facebook talking about this too, Dr. Sue, you don't remove the reality of what's happening, you embrace it. And I'm just going to use a metaphor just briefly. A potter has to touch that lump of clay and make it into something beautiful. The clay exists. So we are the clay of the world, and it is our job to remain in that light, accept it all, and so that we don't let our light dim in any way. Our energy is needed more than ever. And I'm just going to let you run with this now.
Amen, Sister Reverend Pam. So it's like everything in life. There's the seemingly separation of the inner world of perfection, of freedom, of boundlessness, and there's the outer world. And the outer world is said, come to a halt, people, get a grip interiorly. The call being, in the grandest ideal sense, to look within and to find that and recognize and be aware of that which we already are, which is the light, the love, and the perfection of the divine. And when we say we're all equal in that distribution of divine gifts, I love a quote by Martin Luther King. And it's the one that he started out by saying that injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. Just as Buzz had commented that no one is really healed until we're all healed. He went on to say, Martin Luther King, he said, we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment, and whatever affects one directly affects all individually. And to me, it says, yes, we're all in this together. And the call in, again, that absolute ideal realm is to look within. We've all been so very used to, at all levels, looking outside. Where's the pleasure? Where's the satisfaction? Where's the joy? Someone, something, give it to me. Give it to me from outside in. And this being stopped by the whole call of the universe being affected by what's going on, and yet being in it together, we are all experiencing it completely differently. Each one is either coming to terms with or remaining rebellious and violently opposed to coming together in realms of health and safety and well-being, not just for us, but for everyone. I saw your lips move, so I know you want to say something.
Oh, I did. I forgot I was on the screen with you. Oh gosh. No, I just want to say it's like there's been so many other stories like Viktor Frankl, who had the worst of worst circumstances. And what he brought to that was the self. We are self-created. We are self-created to be in that divine joy, in that divine light, no matter what is happening around us. And so it really is up to us. As you said, it's not out there. It's never out there. The things out there give us pleasure for a moment. The things inside are eternal, immortal, and we come, I believe, not everybody believes this, but I believe we have been here since the beginning of time. We will continue to show up and be in that soul that longs to remember that it is one. We're all in the same boat together. It's one boat and we're all in the same boat together, and either we sink or we swim. And so it's time to embrace it all and start swimming in the same strokes. And it's different strokes, but the ones that keep us afloat and doing everything for our, not only ourselves, but for all of mankind.
So I was thinking yesterday, I wanted to do a Facebook posting, and I started thinking about the whole thing with the mask and the varying opinions about how people respond to being asked to be considerate and health-minded and protecting not just ourselves, but each other. And I thought, what an irony that for so many years, those of us who have been dedicated to discovering our inner world and the spiritual path have been unmasking all of the hidden fears and sense of separation and anger and resistance and all of the qualities, prejudice, injustice, our own bias, and all of that has been like, free yourself. That's the way that freedom exists. It's not only by being mentally free, but by being emotionally free. And I thought, and here in the physical realm, while the inner world has been dismantling the lesser images and perceptions about ourselves, we're asked to put on a mask in the physical realm, seemingly opposed to everything that's going on within. But I thought, we spend a lot of time ideally in deepening our awareness of our oneness with the divine through meditation, through silence and solitude and inspirational mindfulness. And yet at the same time, I am totally blown away by the resistance to the outer. And it seemed ironic to me, almost like poetic justice. So I thought, how about a spiritual practice that's directly applicable to living in the world as it exists today, is when putting on the mask, let it be a conscious endeavor that while I am protecting myself outwardly and others, I know that inwardly I am freeing something that is still awaiting unmasking within myself, my resistance, my oppositional suppositions that there's anything other than the divine. So it's become for me the gratitude of being able to protect myself, not only outwardly, but to be free inwardly, therefore less oppositional to the things that are restricting my physical activities. So if that makes any sense, run with it, everybody.
Oh, it makes total sense. And I grew up Hollywood, Burbank, and my dad loved glamour. I loved my dad, and he loved glamour. And he didn't say, oh gosh, I love glamour. And my mom always wore makeup. When we put our face makeup on, we're wearing a mask, and it's really interesting. And I grew up thinking, oh, who you are, the light of who you are has to be enhanced, but not enhanced on the inside, the outside. And now it is so freeing because you don't have to wear makeup, because what's the point? You have a mask on lots of times when you're going out. And actually it's very freeing in its own odd way, and it's free for me to look around at others, and you connect with their eyes more now in the stores. When you go to the store, I avoid this as much as possible, but it's really interesting, a very interesting metaphor. And then for years we grew up afraid of masks or hiding at Halloween. But you know, what do the gunmen wear? Hats and masks. You go to the store and there's 50,000 people you think are trying to rob the store. So it has all those metaphors in it, and also keeping to yourself. And what is this part of keeping to ourselves and going within? It is allowing us to discover the great beyond within, which is who we are. You know, I think it's been a major gift in many, many ways.
And I find that if I hadn't been indoctrinated for so many years living alone, I know that as itchy and antsy as I can be in what I'm discovering are the various moods and emotions and feelings that I experience. But if I hadn't had that initiation and preparation, this would be 1,000,000 times more difficult. And perhaps whether people are engaged in relationship with someone or experiencing the sense of loneliness and isolation and the lack of physical contact, you know, the things we so automatically took for granted, the hugs, and just the ways that we would all spontaneously respond, whether in a spiritual community or most definitely with our families. And to have that complete withdrawing, I always remember in the Science of Mind textbook, how Ernest Holmes gave this little exercise, and he would say, wrap your arms around yourself and just keep affirming, I am wonderful, or I am safe, or I am never alone. That spirit indwells me. And then I read as a component, in addition to that, physically, to engage our physicality along with our interior spirituality, is when you're doing that, that if you physically take your hands from your shoulders down to your elbows and just be soothing and say, I am safe and secure. I am aware of the presence of the divine. It's like that vibratory energy, whatever it is throughout the universal, it suddenly goes from static to a calmer and quiet demeanor. So there are so many ways that we all have to live and to learn and to grow into the divine.
And you know what I really like the most also is that meditation. Meditation absolutely takes me into that center, not all times, but most of the time, where I really, my great reason for my seeking spiritual connection is that I felt at one moment, a nanosecond, that I was one truly with everything. And I've shared this story before. And ever since then, anything that teaches me how to go back in and reconnect or be and feel that light within is so important to me. That's why I love meditation so much. I want to go back to something you said, though, about being alone. And I know your family is so respectful of you, and you are respectful of them and their distancings. Tell me the story about when you saw Sandy, after your daughter, after so many months, and what happened.
Well, we had been seeing each other, but safely with the mask. She was doing a lot of my shopping at the time, and we respected all of the guidelines. And so one day I stopped by her place. I had just been to the market. I went to Whole Foods, and I came back and dropped in to say hi. And when I was ready to leave, I went in the kitchen to pick up the package of groceries that I had bought. And as I went to pick up one bag, she came to say goodbye. And rather than just retaining her distance, all of a sudden she just walked quietly toward me, and she gently put her arms around me, and I put the chicken down. That was a roasted chicken, not being the cooker. And we just hugged each other. And my daughter-in-law to be, my grandson Jake's girlfriend, caught the picture. And so you can see me with like this sad face and my eyes closed and tears streaming down. And it was like the realization that I had not personally experienced a physical touch in over 3 months. And again, the mask of hiding, the blind spot, well, it's okay, I'm used to being alone. It's like that dam broke open, you know, the untethered suddenly was a reality for me emotionally and physically. So yeah, it's the moments we all have to grow and to see where am I standing in my own way to there being more of an activity that's spiritually motivated, so that I am looking at my own sense of prejudice and injustice and white privilege, because I have never experienced a limited experience because of the color of my skin. And that causes me to realize how different it is for people of color. And again, we're coming in an environment at the community that you lead, Reverend Pam, that it is all white. And so we think we're exempt because we don't have the opportunities directly to work with this and to discover our own ignorance about Black history and what this has been seething, really mulling in the collective unconscious for over 400 years. So I tell you, I was so tempted when the marches were in full steam and they were having them right out here in Agoura Hills and Thousand Oaks. And I have never really denied myself overtly and consciously from getting out and demonstrating. I just didn't feel in the physical and true sense that it was a prudent thing for me to do. But I have never been an activist. But I tell you, I am in my heart and mind now, and I'm looking for ways of how can I make a difference. And informing myself is most definitely one of the most important things I can do, because I'm ignorant of anything that represents what it means to live as a Black or brown person in life, then and now.
You know, it is very interesting. I've had a wider range of friends, not many though, not many that are Black. And Franny, which you know, that comes to our church, she wanted. We had also an activist march here, and we did march. We did march in the '60s against the Vietnam War. We did post things, and we felt very empowered because the more we shared our oneness in trying to get us out of a war that we thought was horrendous, the more that vibration, that higher vibration does, you know, radiate outward. And there's something about that physicality in the thousands when you see them walking over the Brooklyn Bridge, or you see them in Los Angeles, or you see them in Camarillo or wherever. You feel so empowered. So Franny and I were going to go to the one in Camarillo, and we're both about the same age, and her sons called her and said, "Mom, you can't do that." And my kids said, "Have you lost your mind?" And so we stayed home, but we felt so wanting to be there also. But also, if you're not feeling your wellness, then there's, you know, if you get sick, what you know, you're not going to be shining your light as bright as you would like in throughout. And we all know, and you know, that the most important thing is to be in that center, to be in that place of just recognizing that there is only that one, and we are an aspect of that one. And when the soul doesn't see color, the soul doesn't, it feels the love, and it knows that love is, God is, I am. And that is where we need to be when we look at these stories that are horrendous, not only about Black Lives Matter, but about our brown lives and the children. And I just weep sometimes. I have to stop watching some things because it's just so heart wrenching to see these babies who are being taken away, or their families are being taken away, and also the people that are have lost their lives that didn't have to have happen, you know, in some of our system. And I love, they are now, at least in California, they are reaffirming we are here to serve and protect, not persecute. And I think that's wonderful. And I imagine in New York, they're doing it too. I love Governor Cuomo.
You know, one of the simple measures, which I feel spiritually, that keeps us aware and more willing to bring forth the masked parts of ourselves and expose them to the light of truth, is maintaining conscious contact with the infinite, the divine, the universal spirit, the great spirit, whatever you call it. I choose to call it God. That awareness that even though we all are inexplicably and eternally woven from the same fabric at source, we're all here living and breathing because that which is life itself birthed us into form for a mighty purpose to help serve and protect ourselves in the world. But until we're consciously aware of it, it's just a dormant, another great idea. We all have great ideas, but how many do we actually give life and breath to by acting on them? So for me, that's why it is so vitally important to find some mantra, some way that throughout the course of any given day, I can remember that I am consciously attuned to knowing the presence, the power, and the principle of life is the very essence of my being, and I'm utilizing it. I'm consciously directing the flow of its energy to serve and to help and assist and to lift the consciousness of all. So for me, it's always been God is, I am. That acknowledges something greater than myself, yet also acknowledges equally that it is myself, the best part of me, the most noble and true.
You know, I have different ones that I go to. God is, I am is certainly one of them. And then I have my secret password to the divine through the Chopra Center, through Lisa Coffee, that I use a lot also. And then I just ended this 3-week class on the Ho'oponopono. And I love it because it is all about self-responsibility, that we are responsible to tune into that river of flowing joy and love beyond all circumstances, and to remain there. As our wonderful Reverend Betty Ann always says, my life is unfolding perfectly no matter what. And it's our job to be in that flow. And the best way is, I think, those mantras. I love what you said about just touching, you know, your arms and rubbing your arms and doing the affirmation, I am safe, I am at peace, or whatever it is. I love some of these spiritual tricks. They're not tricks, the spiritual tools.
You know, I think years ago, the idea was we have a spiritual tool chest, and it's true. But how much just keep it shut?
Yeah.
And there we are, you know, with something that's available. But if I'm not accessing and utilizing and applying it, so what? So it's there. Big deal.
Yeah.
So much to learn and to be
Oh,
willing.
absolutely. So in this moment, I'm gonna wrap it up, and
Okay.
I want you to say something first, and then I'll follow. Just you're out here.
Okay. So,
You're out. That is it. The inner that is expressing as you.
okay. So really, what I want to say, and I speak for myself and about everyone, is let's come together first in acknowledging primary focus and origins exist in the one mind of God. We are all in that one garment. We're cut from the same cloth, and in our own way find the spiritual tools that guide, direct, and inspire us to really not only lift ourselves, but to know when I'm doing that, I am drawing others to me, and find our own ways to help, to make a call, to write somebody, to knock on the door if we're safe in doing that, if we're heading to the market, to see who needs something, to really look at ways how I can be a vital, dynamic, physical service, after first and foremost acknowledging we are all in this together, and coming more together in collectively knowing our divinity is designed to express through our humanity. So let's do a hell of a good job doing that. And so it is.
I agree 100%. And then with me, it's always the passion of the heart and the mind connected, because they have as much. And that passion is that spirituality that we are. And as we act from that place and that desire to see that world that works for everyone, I believe that it's going to happen. You know, it's everybody says you've been saying this for years and years and years, but in years and years and years, more things are coming up to the light, and it's more important than ever to make sure that, like that man who stayed in a cave and didn't realize that he was the light, and he came out and was illumined, without any light at all. That is our job, to remain in that purity of thought and mind, and not only treat all humankind, but especially ourselves in that loving kindness. Accept who we are, accept and bring all that darkness up to the light, and so that we can embrace, rub our arms and say, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you, like Ho'oponopono, whatever it is. And I love you. Thank you so much for being with us today. And I'll see you soon on video, at least. I'm still waiting to hug Spencer. I get to social distance with him once in a while, but I'm still waiting for that hug. So, hugging together. I just thought I'd mention that. So now, not in closing, I'd like to reintroduce Eileen Markland with another beautiful video. Enjoy. And then we'll come back and say goodbye to everybody. And now it is time to, I'm going to do the offertory, and if you would like to say it out loud, please go right ahead with me. It's divine love, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and so it is, and that's the way it is. And I so appreciate you. I love being with you, and I so appreciate that you continue to support the divine within all during this. And we're hoping, not hoping, we're knowing we will be back together. And I'm looking now at maybe August or September, but we're ensuring also that you all stay safe. So your sacred donations are more than ever appreciated. Our mailing address is CSL, Pleasant Valley, 221 East Daly Drive, Suite number 1, Camarillo, California, 93010. Our website is cslpleasantvalley.com. .org. I'm so sorry. And CSL Pleasant Valley at gmail.com is our email, and we invite you. So we are also accepting now donations, and we want to thank Savina and everybody else who worked, and Yvonne, our treasurer, on this. We are accepting donations. And so step 1, download the Venmo mobile app. Step 2, open your smartphone's camera and point towards the Venmo or QR code. Step 3, open the app and place your sacred donation. So thank you and so much. And now I want to do one closing song before we say goodbye to everybody. And it's the peace song, and I looked very hard to find one that was copyright free. So this is a choir. Please enjoy. Bye. Thank you, Reverend. Everybody wave, but thank you.
Bye.
Reverend Betty Ann, Bonnie and Amato. Goodbye, Betty Ann.
Bye.
Goodbye, Ian and Buzzy.
Bye.
Goodbye. And I want to thank Marcia Beebe behind the scenes. And am I missing anyone? I don't think so. Oh, Eileen. And Eileen, who sent the recording. Peace out. Love each and every one of you. And the power and the presence of the light, the divine light, is within each and every one of you. Have a great, 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 great day. Bonnie, I know you're off to Connecticut. Is it? Yes. Have a great trip.
Thank you, Pam. Love you so much.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.